The movie begins with our view moving along a pavement until it stops on a man lying with blood pooling around him. He narrates that he left his village at 13, he became a leading actor at 16 and was very successful, but he did it all just to get by. He never thought he would end up in this horrible place. He says many people believe the film world is ridiculous. However, he thinks life is even more so. The man finishes narrating by saying he once stated if he loses his memories, someone will have to teach him how to smile again. He then stands in an elevator where a little boy enters to press his floor's button many times. They exit on the same floor. Our protagonist, Chin, carries many things with him. He comes to a door with a chain, prompting the security to help him open it. The security says he is Yin. He is the only security there and he knows everyone. Yin opens the door for Chin before they enter the apartment. Chin learns no one has lived there for some time. Yin tells him he has never seen anyone famous move in there. He gives Chin some incense sticks. Left alone, Chin starts to unpack. Soon we see stylish clothes hanging on the wall. For an unknown reason, Chin stands on a stool with a noose around his neck. He holds a phone to his ear, listening to a child talk. He remembers playing with his son. The boy walks away with his mother in an abstract space full of darkness. Chin imagines sitting with his family while his son and wife have white eyes. They are all holding hands in a circle, with blood coming out of them. Chin is the sole one unnerved by this. Stepping off the stool, he starts to suffer due to the many disturbing images pollute his mind. In the meantime, someone emerges from the sheets on the floor, being covered by them. Blood begins to stain the sheets. When the concealed being draws near, it seems to evaporate into Chin. This seems to fill the man with a new life energy. He moves around in a way no one can. Suddenly a man breaks through the door and jumps to cut the rope, freeing Chin. The man is Yao, who starts to pray. Weirdly, Chin jumps on him from behind, which sparks a fight between them. No explanation is given concerning why Chin chose to do this. Yao holds Chin's face to the mirror for the latter to briefly see himself as someone more grotesque. Yao finishes the fight by vanishing like a ghost before slamming Chin into the wall, knocking him unconscious. The next scene has many people occupying the outside of his flat, trying to see what happened. Upon waking up, Chin vomits. He struggles to put on his sunglasses because he still has to look cool. An elderly woman approaches him and says everything is okay now. Yao is there too, telling her the beaten man needs to be alone. The woman is Moy. She instructs the gathered crowd to go. Later, Chin listens to a message from his son on his phone. The boy says he hasn't seen his father for days. Moving along, Chin looks through the peephole to see a woman at the door. He opens it, and she looks into his room to see something very different from what is there. The room looks red, and a woman is hanging from the fan by a rope. The woman starts to say she is sorry for no reason, in addition to being very scared. In the building's kitchen, Yao speaks about how he knows what everyone orders there. Chin happens to be sitting there, getting food brought to him. Soon Mui sits beside him to say he should eat his food while it's hot. Thus, he listens to her. He asks her if she is good at sewing, but she replies she is not. She merely has nothing to do. She tries to help where she can. Chin says he has a few film costumes that need repairing. He has kept them for years. Moy says she can help him, since she asks how long he is planning to stay there. He is curious why she asked, and even stops eating. Moy has to apologize for her nosiness. Changing topics, she asks if he noticed anything about apartment number 2442. It has been vacant for a very long time. She asks if he knows what she means, yet Chin does not believe in such things. Following this, we see Moy dressing her husband, Tung, who complains about the clothes. He also complains about a certain overweight woman. He thinks Yao's place will go out of order due to her eating everything. Moy complains about Tung's mouth. He says Yao and the overweight woman want this couple to be fatter than the woman. At another time, Tung goes to take out the trash. He hears a child crying, making him complain about the parents letting their child out at this hour. Hearing laughter along with the crying, he wants to check what is going on. He looks down the stairwell to see a child crying in the corner. We see he has an inhuman face. Tung starts to descend the stairwell and trips on it to have a seemingly fatal accident. In the kitchen, Chin compliments Yao for his amazing rice. Yao takes out several grains of it from his pocket to pour it on the table. He says his great-great-grandfather started to carry rice with him. It's not just used for cooking, he adds. In the old days, all successful vampire hunters had special relationships with the best rice shops. They got discounts for the rice they needed that way. Now all the vampires have vanished, so the hunters cook. Chin thanks him for saving his life this morning. Yao replies he may have stopped him this time, but he might not do it again. Meanwhile, Tung returns home. Strangely, it looks like nothing bad happened to him. He tells Moy he was looking for her and was scared of losing the woman. She asks why his feet are cold. Not answering her, he says he will be back in a few days. She should wait for him. At this moment, Moy awakens from this dream near her sewing machine. Tung never did return, for he is deceased. Elsewhere, Moy arrives to see a man named Gao. He says they should talk privately. We don't see what they discuss. In the next scene, Moy returns home and finds the little boy we saw earlier in her flat. Taking him away, She says he can't come there anymore. Chin finds the boy in his apartment wearing the former's sunglasses. Chin scares him to run out of there. The boy left his notebook that Chin finds. It has dark drawings. One of them seems to be of a woman. Afterward, we see Moi having Tung in her bathtub. He is piled under a lot of dirt. A voiceover tells us that to preserve a corpse, a dark place must be chosen. It is a place where he was last living. Later, the corpse must be moved to a coffin, where it should remain in total darkness. The coffin should be kept off the ground, which is what we observe. Crow's blood will be used to work with the amulet on his chest, to collect the essence of the yin spirit. Time passes, and now Gao is there, performing the ritual. Tung stands lifelessly in a cloak. Once Gao places a mask of coins on Tung's face. He instructs Moi to never take it off. He says Tung will return in 7 days. Moi worries about what happens if this procedure does not work. Gao says he has another way, but it must not be used unless it's necessary. He then walks away and seems to suffer for some reason. He creates a smoke, puffing out what seems like a baby. Subsequently, we see the woman we saw earlier near Chin's flat. The boy runs to her, calling the woman his mom. She sees Chin, causing her to get into a protective stance with her son. Chin sees several concealed people, with umbrellas heading their way. He stands to the side to let them pass. Whoever these mysterious people are, they are very tall. When they leave, the woman's son runs away and she chases him. Switching to Moi, she has a happy dream about being with Tung. Our attention is brought to the lifted coffin, falling, which awakens her. Moving along, Chin enters a room where strange things reside. The odd woman is hiding in there. Soon Yin walks in, segueing the scene into him talking with Chin. Yin says if he didn't look after the woman and her son, whom we see in the background, he would have retired long ago. They have been asked to leave many times. Chin asks why the woman hangs around his flat all the time. She lived in apartment number 2442 for years, answers Yin. Although she was reserved, she had a warm smile. Her husband seemed like a nice man to Yin. He was her to twin girls. We get a flashback of the man fighting one of them. He stabs her hand and her, contradicting Yin's words about him being a nice man. Thankfully, the other twin stabs the man with scissors from behind. Then one of the twins hangs from the fan. Yin says the woman, Feng, goes back to 2442 every day. He also says her son, Pak, is a good boy. The next scene has Moi talking to Tung like he is alive. She tells him they are not young anymore. If he isn't happy, he should speak up, not keep it to himself. She can't do it all on her own. Becoming emotional, Moi tells him not to leave her. She says he told her he would return and starts to sob. In a short time, his eyes open, but she doesn't see it. In Yao's apartment, the mirror shows us several people sitting at his table. In reality, no one is there. Chin enters the flat to join Yao at the table. He asks Yao if he can see an unspecified them. He says he sometimes can. Once Chin says it is odd that Yao still stays there. Yao asks if Chin thinks there are any flats without ghosts. He claims to have stayed in this building for a few decades, yet the ghosts have been there for more than a century. Yao believes he will be staying there as a ghost too. It makes sense to him to develop a good relationship with the ghosts beforehand. Chin needs Yao's help with room 2442. Soon their conversation leads to Yao talking about his distant past. He remembers how his father would leave young Yao at their neighbor's place when the father went to work. Being a Taoist monk, he didn't earn much. It wasn't even enough to pay the babysitting fee. The place he and Chin are currently in is the last place Yao's dad brought Yao to. He planned for them to stay for a few days. However, a few days turned into a few decades. Yao's dad went out one night only to never return. Following this sad story, Chin shows him a drawing made by Pak. If Chin is scared, says Yao, that is Chin's problem. He adds that Feng is mentally ill. This turns into an argument with Chin being confused as to why Yao isn't helping Feng and her son. It angers Yao that Chin is this concerned because he doesn't know them. He also thinks Chin isn't capable of taking care of himself, meaning him helping others is not possible. Yao sees a drawing of a watch on Chin's wrist. He realizes it was drawn by a kid and thinks Chin was not able to let it go. Later, a voice narrates that humans possess the good, in addition to the bad. The same is true for spells. The darker the color of the amulet paper, the greater the power of the spell. To ask for the power from the gods, this way is evil. It poses a danger to oneself and others. Once Chin enters his flat, he gets a surprise attack from Gao. He gets Chin into a bind and starts to recite a spell. Chin sees the deceased twins materialize. They crawl toward him scarily prior to vanishing. Chin manages to free himself from the bind, resulting in him fighting Gao. Yao hears this in his apartment. We see Chin and Gao are very skilled fighters with unnatural talents. It doesn't take long for Yao to join the fight, helping Gao beat the newcomer. Together, they slam him into the wall, causing the ghostly twins to reappear. They fight the winners, who work together to bind the ghosts. They get sent into the cabinet. Later, Yao slaps Gao for using Chin's life to bait the twins. Gao says he asked for Yao's help, but the man didn't want to offer it. Thus, Gao resorted to this. They notice the cabinet is shaking. Yao says it can't hold them much longer and wants Gao to burn it. Afterward, Chin remembers being with his family at the table again. As they all hold hands, the son says they have to stay this way forever. Shifting to Pak with his mom, the boy asks her, when can they go home? She tells him anywhere is their home as long as they are together. Subsequently, Yin tries to take Feng to Chin's flat. She perceives the lifeless twins in there. Despite that, she slowly starts to walk into the apartment. She touches the wall and cries. In the next scene, Chin is eating there with Pak. Yet Feng is sitting on the chair upset. She remembers the violent act on the table, so the circumstance changes to them eating on the floor with no table. Pak says his mom told him white is the most gorgeous color in the world. Chin agrees with this statement to keep the boy happy. In the building's kitchen, Yao asks if anyone has seen Tung. The cook says he should ask Yin. Listening to him, Yao talks to the guard. Yin tells him that Feng told him some man took Tung's life. She also said the man had a lot of kids with him. Yin shows a tooth he found near the railing. It looks like Tung's gold tooth to him. Later, we see Mui with Gao. She tells him every night at 11, Tung opens his eyes. Gao asks if she took off the mask and she shakes her head. He assures her what she said is normal behavior. She wants to know how much longer she has to wait. The woman is concerned that nothing is happening. She's been feeding him blood every day. Mui remembers Gao told her there was another way to revive her husband. She asks to hear what it is. Gao needs the blood of a... Soon a knock comes at the door from Yin. Opening the door, Gao hears the security say he got complaints that kids were in this flat making noises late at night. Once Yin is finished, Gao tries to close the door, but Yin prevents it and sees Mui is inside. He enters the apartment, saying it's a surprise to see her there. He went to her place, which was locked for the last few days. We see a grotesque hand snatch one of the candies Yin dropped from his pocket as he walked into the room. Yin tells Gao that he has known him since Gao was a kid. He still sees him messing around with black magic. He takes out Tung's tooth and asks where Tung is. In a short time, Mui slams Yin from behind on the back of his head, knocking him down. The desperate woman does it a few more times to take his life. However, she didn't want to because she cries. Following this, Pak and Yao come to Mui's flat. Yao says he hasn't seen her recently. She says the reason for her absence is that Tung is feeling unwell. She needs to take care of him. Being a little hooligan, Pak runs into her apartment. Mui says it's okay, for he is just a kid. As Pak spends some time in Mui's flat, he asks to go to the bathroom. When she takes him there, he starts to cry. We see someone there, possessing sharp nails on his hand. Mui stands beside the door and feels a thud from behind it. It shakes some more, prompting her to cry too. In Yao's flat, one of his ornaments starts to open by itself, grabbing his attention. The next scene has him entering an apartment with a broken front door and a bloody floor. The place is an utter mess. To his horror, a hand suddenly holds his mouth. It is the hand of a severely injured Gao. He says he created an unspecified it. A flashback shows us Tung falling on the stairs. That incident did not take his life. Gao was helping the injured man walk back up the stairs. Somehow Tung has acquired a grotesque bulge on the back of his neck. Since Tung was being difficult, Gao resorted to throwing him a long way down to his demise. Feng witnessed this crime from above. Gao reveals to Yao that the cigarettes he smokes are made of the ashes of the unborn. Yao knows Gao is in the process of turning Tung's corpse into a vampire. The twin ghosts were needed to bring him back to life. Gao's last words, before he perishes, are that if they didn't use the mask, Tung's corpse would have been out of control. Entering the washroom, Yao finds a small part of Pak's hair. Afterward, Feng walks in the hallway, ringing a cowbell while calling out to her missing son. She finds the locked cabinet Gao was supposed to burn and tries to open it. Succeeding in the task, she thinks Pa could be in there, yet he isn't, so she walks away. The ghostly twins exit instead, with one of them walking closely behind Feng. Strangely, we see Pa running in the hallway. The boy was supposed to be deceased. Switching to Chin, the man gets told by Yao that Tung was the body without the spirit, whilst the twins were the spirits without the body. He wants to prepare a trap in the hallway. He says he will try to attract the vampire with corpse oil. Suddenly, Feng sees her son and runs to him. She gets on her knees to look at the boy. Something is not right. The next thing we see is the poor woman walking distraught in the hallway as she drags a spiked club across the floor. Soon she stands to look at the revived Tung at the other end of the hallway. They run at each other, and Feng slams his head with the club. The toughened man retaliates by slamming her through the wall, making them tumble down an escalator. Feng struggles to stand. Tung shows no mercy as he throws her to deliver extra damage. Fortunately, Chin rushes in to throw a Molotov cocktail at Tung. It ignites a fire on his back. Tung throws himself at Chin, but the man dodges it for Tung to fall into an area where a lot of rice falls on him. This keeps him on the floor. It seems like Chin is victorious until the ghostly twins arrive. They possess Tung, allowing him to stand. He rips a pipe off the ceiling and throws it at Chin. This impales the hero. However, the man's perseverance prompts him to free himself from the impalement. He struggles to walk with his serious injury. Once Yao rushes to him, Chin says the twins possess the vampire. Yao, saving him a second time, creates a tourniquet from Chin's shirt. He also writes a spell on Chin's chest. Subsequently, We see Tung jumping around unnaturally with great speed. Yao slams his special ornament in a way that gets all the lights in the building to go out. He will be using it to help Qin in his upcoming battle with the vampire. The epic fight initiates with them running at each other. They jump and the floor beneath them erupts. Qin starts to fight Tung, demonstrating impressive skill. Yet the vampire breaks him through the wall as he did with Feng. When they return, Qin struggles from the damage he has sustained. He gets Tung stuck to a metal door thanks to the power granted by Yao's ornament. Wood materializes to bind the vampire while Qin delivers powerful kicks to him. At that moment, Yao yells they are running out of time. Tung manages to break through all the wood and grabs Qin by the neck. Now the floor turns into mud that Qin gets thrown into. In the meantime, the ornament twists Yao's bound arm to the point of ripping it off. He sees the sun rising, causing the man to jump out the window. He is attached to Qin by a rope, meaning he gets dragged across the floor along with Tung. They all fall a respectable distance, and the vampire starts to burn due to the sunlight. In this place, Moi appears, seeing all of them are somehow still alive. In the process of Tung falling apart into ash, Moi tells him they should leave together. Therefore, she breaks a crystal ball to use its shard to join her husband. The poor woman, who did everything she could to bring him back, ends up falling on his ashes lifelessly. With that, we return to the opening shot of the film, where we see the injured Qin lying on the pavement. The final few scenes show us an anomaly. Qin arrives at the building and soon he is in his room. Witnessing this, Yao yells for help. Instead of being a person who engages in black magic, Gao is a doctor. He takes out a corpse from a morgue. A young man we don't see comes to him, calling himself Qin's son. Perhaps Qin truly lost his life in his room and dreamed of all the events that occurred in the film.